Human armor and arrows saved her life. Then he gets a huge reward. The sky above Durnex. 5 roar with plasma fire and smoke trails. The alien outpost was under siege, and chaos reigned on all frequencies. Commander Yelra the Valari stood at the last stronghold of her kind. Her violet skin scorched, her breathing labored, and her armor fractured. She had fought until her limbs ached and her squad had fallen. Alone, she faced the encroaching enemy. And then, a figure crashed through the smoke. It wasn't another Valari. It wasn't one of her own. It was a human. He wore thick black armor, scuffed and cracked from battle. A bow was slung over his back, and a quiver rattled with arrows humming with energy. He moved like a phantom through the fire, dropped beside her, and raised his shield just in time to deflect a bolt aimed at her skull. "You alive?" he asked, voice muffled through his helmet. She blinked at him. "You are human?" He nodded. "Name's Kale, and I'm here to save you." Before she could question him further, he leapt up and fired an arrow into the darkness. A monstrous screech rang out as the enemy shrieked. Struck down by the burning projectile, he moved with a purpose, with no hesitation. Arrows flew in rapid succession, each one hitting its mark, pinning invaders to the walls, or exploding midair to scatter those too close. "Why are you here?" she shouted over chaos. "Because command told me someone important was left behind." Looks like they were right. Yelra narrowed her eyes. "You risked your life for me?" Another volley of bolts tore through the air, and Kale tackled her behind a down craft. Not the best time for that talk. She watched him reload his quiver from a mechanical pack. The arrows were ancient in design but advanced in tech. Not plasma, not bullets, primitive weapons enhanced by precision tech. Somehow, they worked better than any of her own tools. "You use arrows?" she asked, stunned. He grinned beneath his helmet. "Quiet, fast, deadly. Now stay down. I'll cover you." And cover her he did. Kale moved like a ghost through the ruins. Enemy after enemy fell. Every time Yelra thought the battle was lost, he emerged, blocking a shot, pulling her from rubble, or standing firm when she collapsed. Once, a grenade landed near her feet. Without hesitation, Kale threw himself onto it, his armor absorbing the blast. It sent him flying, but he got up again. "You're mad!" she gasped, dragging him to his feet. Maybe I just don't like losing people." Eventually, the battle faded. The enemy retreated, their bodies left smoldering behind them. The Valari reinforcements arrived. Too late to save anyone, except her. Yelra stood amidst the ashes of the battlefield, staring at the human warrior who had saved her life 12 times in the span of an hour. He removed his helmet. His face was younger than she expected, scarred but bright-eyed, with a strange softness behind the grit. "I owe you my life," she said solemnly. Kale shrugged. "Just doing my job." "No," she said, stepping forward. "That was not duty. That was devotion." She placed her hand on his chest, just over the spot where his armor had cracked, where he'd shielded her without hesitation. "Where I come from," she said softly, "a life debt of this magnitude is sacred." He frowned. "What does that mean exactly?" She smiled, small, mysterious. "It means I owe you something beyond thanks." 3 days later, the Valari capital. Kale stood in a hall of crystal and light. The palace of the Valari shimmered under alien suns, guarded by armored sentinels and watched by thousands of curious, violet-eyed nobles. Kale was clean now, his wounds dressed, his armor replaced with traditional robes that clashed with his wild, soldier stance. Yelra entered, dressed in regal silver. Her injuries were mostly healed, but the mark of war remained in her proud stance. "I hope you're not uncomfortable," she said, gesturing to the court. He glanced around. Everyone's staring like I'm a zoo animal. She chuckled, because you are the first human to stand in this hall and leave it honored. A chime echoed across the room. The Queen of Valari rose. Stepped forward human Kale. He obeyed, his boots heavy against the marble floor. You saved my daughter, the Queen said, not just with strength, but with courage, patience, and unusual tools. Kale half bowed. Your Majesty, I only did what anyone should have done. No, the Queen replied. Few would have done what you did. The Queen raised her hand. And so, by our law, you shall receive a reward fitting your act. A drumbeat sounded. A ceremonial orb floated into the room, glowing with pale light. You may ask for land, riches, command, or... The Queen paused with a knowing smile. You may accept the reward chosen by Commander Yelra herself. Kale turned to the alien woman. Beside him, she stepped forward and gently placed a hand on his shoulder. I asked to give you the bond of stars, she said. He blinked. What's that? A vow, a shared path. You saved my life, Kale, and I offer you mine in return, not as a burden, but as a companion. You mean like marriage? Her smile widened. Among the Valari, we do not marry. We bond. It is stronger and eternal. Kale took a breath, eyes searching hers. That's the lot. Yes, she said softly, but only if you wish it. Silence hung. The court watched. Even the Queen looked down with expectation. Then Kale grinned. You're a terrible patient, you know, always running into danger. And you're a reckless human who uses arrows in a plasma war. He laughed. Sounds like we'll get along just fine. He reached out and took her hand. I accept. The court erupted in ceremonial music. The Queen gave her blessing, and the orb above them shimmered, casting threads of light around their joined hands. Later, at the edge of the palace gardens, Kale stood beside Yelra beneath a tree that shimmered like glass. You really chose me? He asked, staring at the stars. I did. Why? You risked everything without knowing me. You bled for me. You faced monsters with nothing but a bow and stubbornness. And when I was ready to fall, you stood. He looked at her. I thought humans were weak, she added. But I was wrong. You're stronger than any I've known. He leaned closer. And you got a pretty decent right hook. She laughed. I never got a real reward before, he said, quieter now. I always fight, then disappear. No one notices. Well, she said, moving closer. Now you have a place, and someone who sees you. They kiss beneath the twin moons, surrounded by alien light and the quiet promise of a new future. For Kale, the battlefield had been just another mission, but the reward was more than he ever expected.